What should we know about the felon's lovely Easter message? And let's take a 6 month look at his health. Welcome to Scrying Out Loud. My name is Trevor. First off, a huge thank you to everybody who subscribed to the channel for liking, watching, sharing the videos. If you promote the channel in any way, huge thank you. If you've donated to the channel, big thank you. So, uh, last week I predicted that something big would happen this weekend. So I'm recording this on Easter Sunday. Um, and I do believe something big happened. I don't know that it'll be reported exactly, but let's look at the felon's lovely Easter message, and then we'll do a 6 month reading on his health and what's going to be going on for the next 6 months. So in his Easter message, he referred to the lunatic left. He referred to, I think it was incompetent justices, something like that, ineffective law enforcement. Anyhow, it was just a barrage of insulting Democrats. Oh, he insulted Joe Biden, said he was the worst president ever, didn't even know what he was doing. We'll talk about that as well. I want to kind of look at that as well. But mostly it was exactly what I was saying was going to happen, but in a tweet or whatever they call them, a truth on his media platform, which we can talk about that at another time. But it basically was kind of the temper tantrum that I was seeing happening, and his reaction to the justices' rulings and the Democrats going to visit that. Oh, that was the other. He insulted Mr. Garcia, called him a gang member, said he had MS-13 tattoos, which we now know is a fake photo. It's getting really bizarre. So, what do we need to know about this Easter message? What I want to know, and hopefully you do too, is was this rabid Easter message uh, being typed, delivered, thought of while he was in a fit of rage? What was his emotional state at the time? What was his emotional state over the weekend, and in particular, the time that he was writing this tweet? I want to know that because I think stress is getting to him. I've said this, ultimately that's going to be his undoing. Um, I think this event actually is fairly significant because it not only attacks Democrats, it attacks law enforcement, it attacks the judiciary, a whole nother branch of government. It attacks an individual who, by all accounts, is innocent of everything that he's being accused of, never been charged with anything. So it's really kind of crossed the next level, and the media is not really going to report the next level that it's crossed. But it's one thing to, like, make policy disagreements, but this isn't that. It was juvenile, it was sophomoric. Yeah, it was just very distressing. And I think it's starting to show his mental collapse. Okay, before I get into that, I did do a reading on um, the assassination attempts on Donald Trump on the other channel and whether they were faked. So I will link that in the description of this video. So if you're interested in my take on whether the assassination attempts on Donald Trump were actually staged or orchestrated, is probably a better word, you could check that out. Okay, so what was going on with the felon? Yeah, I see again this, like, just like his hands are clenched, like kind of like this, like it's almost like he's posturing. This happens when you hyperventilate people sometimes they like, if you're having like a panic attack, for example, and you like are severely panicking and you severely start to hyperventilate, you can get so much oxygen that your hands start to go numb and they'll posture and you can't really move them. I'm seeing that. I'm also seeing like a throwing some things in the bathroom. Other images we can pull from this. Throwing things. Yeah, the hands posturing, that's interesting. I think that scared him. I don't think he'd experienced that before. I don't know if any of you have experienced that. I did one time when I was really young and in complete panic where my hands did that because I was hyperventilating. Um, Throwing something against the bathroom mirror. Yeah. It looks like a comb or something. Nothing of significance. And yeah, like slamming his hands on like a desk or like a table. Um, I think this is in, don't think there were anybody around in the room with him. I think he was by himself. Um, I do think later in the day, I did see an image of them putting a blood pressure cuff around him. I think later in the day, somebody thought they should take his vital signs. So I do think that happened as well. And this was all part of this raged fit. So what do we need to know about this raged? What's going on there? I think it concerned some people. That's why I think ultimately we're going to hear about this specific weekend. It might not be until after he's gone, but this specific Easter weekend is going to be talked about. Books might even come out. I could see people trying to profit off of it if they saw it. We get the puppeteer. This is him being angry that he's not the puppeteer, that he's the puppet, right? He really does want to be a monarch, right? He doesn't think he should be held accountable by the other branches of government. He doesn't think that individuals should get a say. He thinks that everything that he says should just be taken as truth. Um, Also, on my other channel, we're reading about him being narcissistic and just narcissism in general. It very much fits all those bills there. The puppeteer came up in that reading as well, I believe. We had death. He's worried about his health. He knows he's on the decline. That's in the environment around this death. I think he was pretty, I don't know that I would say he was close to death, but death was in the environment around. And we got this the last time when we read on the something big's going to happen this weekend, I think was the title of the video. We got death in the environment around. It was actually in this position, I believe. Get the Knight of Cups, emotional messages spewing out. This is the Truth Social stuff. We get judgment. This is in the environment around. This is the judiciary passing judgment on things that he's doing. This is also the public passing judgment. A little reported fact too, or at least I didn't see it reported, was CNBC released their approval poll. They do one about once every 2 months, something like that. And they always focus on the economy. And on the economy, his approval rating on the economy, I think was 41%, and disapprove was like 58%, which is the lowest it's ever been. He's always kind of been right at 50%, even during the first term when he was messing things up. So I think he probably saw that too. And he saw people passing judgment on him. Yeah, the Seven of Pentacles. Couldn't turn off his brain. The wheels were just spinning. He couldn't stop it. That sort of cognitive decline, if you will. The greedy merchant and the environment around this is him. Wish fulfillment, realizing his wishes are dashed in some sense. I think he knows that that people think he's a terrible president, right? I I think that illusion has now passed. And I think that's why Biden came up in the Easter message. Biden was the worst president ever, he said in the message on Truth Social. I think that happened in part. Yeah, I think that happened in part because that's the thing he's been used to being. I mean, he's used to saying that on the campaign trail. And I just don't think he could think of anybody else to attack. It's like during this writing of this post, it's like a lot of it was rehearsed, and then he got to that part and he couldn't think of anybody else. So it was like kind of an afterthought. Um, Here's the chariot card, forward movement, or um, could be trafficking. It often appears that way on readings on him. This is the kidnapping and the excuse me while I take a sip of my tea. Those of you that have asked about my health and my voice, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm fine. It's just allergies. And whoever suggested the elderberry tea, that actually has been really helping. So thank you for that. Um, so the chariots, these basically they're kidnappings, right? You can call them deportations if you want, but they're really kind of more kidnapping. There's no due process. So I think that would be considered trafficking. That's what I think the chariot card's representing. And that's what the justices ruled on. The Four of Wands, the people are in the environment around, the voters in particular. And full illumination, the Sun card. So what do we need to know? He's quite well aware that he's the puppet and he doesn't get to pull the strings. And that's just making him super angry. And so the wheel starts turning. He can't quite, I don't think he has the vocabulary most people have to like express themselves. Like some people just have really limited vocabularies because they don't read or whatever when they're kids. It's not an insult to anybody. I'm not saying that at all. But it tends to be those people sometimes tend to have more emotional outbursts because they can't express themselves with words. And I think that's him. I don't think he can express himself with words. I think that's why we hear, loser, worst ever, radical, same things over and over again. And then I think he realizes that the sun is setting. Here, the people are about to go down the roller coaster. He knows he's in for a downhill ride. That's what I get from the sun card there. Um, the immigration policies, I'm going to call them trafficking. Really mad about the Supreme Court saying he can't deport or kidnap or whatever people from Venezuela. The buses actually had to turn around and they actually did follow the court orders. So I think they're starting to realize that. That's also something else I said would happen. Um, but this just gets his brain spewing and he can't seem to stop it. So what comes out is an emotional message on Truth Social. Now, people that are astute and not in the cult read the message and realize there's something very wrong with this individual. He's obviously very ill. Um, and also I read it and I felt like a sense of sorrow. Like it's like, is this what the United States has come to where it's acceptable for the leader of the country to post insults about private citizens, first of all, that are untrue, even though I don't matter if it's true or untrue. I just don't think presidents should be doing that. And, attacking another branch of government that's supposed to be equal to the branch that he's occupying. It just, it's sad. But that's the time that we're living through. But things are going to be coming to the surface. I think we're going to get revelations about some unlikely partnerships as well. I I think we're going to learn a lot in the coming months, which is why I want to do a 6 month reading on him. Okay, so that was the Unveiled Tarot for those of you that are interested in the decks. Take a sip of my tea again. Okay, so for the 6 month overviews, what we're going to do is we're going to go May, June, July, August, September, October. So May through October, we'll include these last 9 days or so of April in with May. We're going to pull 6 cards from each of these 5 decks, 1 card for each month from each of the 5 decks, and we'll see what we get. So what can you show us about the felon's health, the felon who currently occupies the White House? I feel like a sense of anxiety, a sense of dread. Uh, Not me personally, I'm sensing that's what he's feeling. Although I don't think he knows those words. I don't think he knows the word anxiety, the word dread. I mean, he might know the word, but he doesn't know the meaning and how to apply it, right? If you're interested in like a really fascinating book, there's I forget what it's called, but um, where a psychologist or lays out all the human emotions. There's like 100 and some of them. It's very interesting, like the Bible of Emotions or something like that. It's also a documentary about it, like the difference between anger and anguish, the difference, between dismay and depressed, like the subtleties. That's what I'm talking about. He doesn't know the subtleties of words. Like, he just doesn't. He's just not very intellectually equipped in that sense. What do we need to know about the felon's health? May through October. And then we'll clarify with the Toth deck, I think, at the end. We see the sun card, and again, the sun's setting in this card too, and that's what I'm drawn to the most for May. And the horse kind of represents freedom, and the sun setting behind his freedom. There's also an image of a newborn baby there as well, and the sun and the glow of the sun. But what I'm drawn to in particular is just the sun is setting. Yeah, we get movement in June. This could be movement away from troubled waters, but it could also be getting ready to take a journey, um, or getting ready for the next phase of life in some sense. We get circles of support around money, 3 people. This is Musk, Putin, and the felon, and that's in July. We get the card for Musk in August, the magician is going to play a part in his health somehow. We get emotional messages coming forward and almost like an offering, like it's got the image of somebody taking communion, which is interesting. And the 7 of Pentacles, planting seeds, or getting ready to harvest, like towards the fall in October. The energy underneath is the Chariot card. He's going to still be reeling about these judicial decisions. They're not going to, he's not going to win those cases. Like that's what I'm sticking with what I said 2 months ago on the topic, that the courts would strike down the Alien Enemies Act, and that the courts would strike down any other attempt to use some sort of invasion as the idea for deporting people without due process, or kidnapping, whatever word you want to use. What do we need to know about the felons? May through October, including April with May. The last week of April's with May. Do we need to know? In the water, I'm seeing the Five of Swords from this deck, which is the dementia card that Rosalind Carter showed me. I think it's going to become more and more apparent that he's not in control of his mental faculties, his emotional faculties as well, and his physical faculties. I think there might be some embarrassing incident there with losing control with some bodily functions. Getting that too. We get the voters celebrating in May. I think this has to do with the judiciary kind of doing the right thing. I think there'll be some tense moments because it's going to take a while before they probably come down with a final decision, right? This is just a temporary injunction. We get the Page of Swords, sabotage in June, a spy in the camp, if you will. Could also refer to self-sabotage, walking a tightrope. Interesting, underneath the Three of Pentacles, we get the Seven of Swords, which is about deceit, deception, and thievery. So Putin, Musk, and the felon doing some deceit, deception, and thievery. Now, does it happen in July, or is it just exposed in July? That's maybe the question. I feel like it's more like it's exposed. Yeah, and then something shocking about Elon Musk comes out in August, bombshells and surprises. So, something about probably these two things are related. We get the Six of Cups after the Knight of Cups. So emotional messages, and I got that image of somebody taking communion, and I'm getting the image now of it's like a family in a park, but there's like, not super young kids, but it's very clearly like a boy and a girl after like their first confirmation. I don't know what's up with all the Catholic imagery, but that's what I'm getting. Maybe that's just because it's Easter. And then we get the end of a big, big cycle in October. And underneath we get the Four of Cups. I think this is how he's feeling now. Like, I think the appropriate word would be dismayed. But just feeling like super unhappy, not content. Like, it's like one of those, that's the best way to explain. I don't know if you've ever like had a migraine to where you can't stand to have any lights on and you want it to be completely dark, but at the same time the darkness causes anxiety, so you want there to be a light on, and there is no happy spot between. It's like, I think it's miserable, maybe that's the right word, miserable. I think that's how he's feeling. Like, there is no happy spot for him. There's nothing that he'll want to be golfing when he's not golfing, and when he's golfing he'll want to not be golfing. That's what I'm getting. It's kind of like that feeling. I'm not happy with A or not A, I guess, to use some logic terms, but yeah, yeah, it's like a miserable, I don't know another word other than misery that would describe that. Don't mistake that for me being empathetic towards him, because I'm not, but um we need to know about the felons. Yeah, so like that image of the kids after confirmation in a park, it's like a real free, easy, flowing feeling. It feels like the temperature is just the right, where you're not hot, you're not cold, and everybody can breathe. It's like a sigh of relief, is what I'm getting. And that feels like it's happening here in September. It's like everyone can exhale. I think he threw a pill bottle against the mirror, not a cone. I just got that image again. I think it was a pill bottle, an empty pill bottle that he threw at the mirror. Something about some medicine that he doesn't want to have to take, but he's taking. I don't think it's like something simple like cholesterol medicine. I think it's something that's hinting at something bigger. I don't know if he's taking it or not, but he threw the pill bottle against the mirror. That's what I saw. Yeah, he's juggling so much in April and in May, especially with overseas influences. He's going to get a big rebuke from Canada, I think, on the 28th when the Liberal Party wins fairly convincingly. He's also going to get some other rebukes in various forms. Get the Chariot card again, still just really not able to let this go, that he's not able to kick people out of the country. Like he just can't let it go. It's almost like OCD. Like he's so obsessed with it, because I don't think he even knows why he's obsessed with it, to be honest with you, but he's so obsessed with it that he just cannot possibly let it go. And this is just causing these emotional outbursts, these physical responses, like to, I don't know if posturing is the right word. I'm not a medical professional, but I believe that's what that's called, where you're like you're so angry and you're hyperventilating, or you're so panicky and you're hyperventilating, or you're like in so much shock that you're hyperventilating and your hands kind of form this weird position and you can't move them. It's like that. And it's because he can't, like, he's not getting his way. It's like the worst thing for a narcissist is to not get their way. We get the voters. The voters find out about, so this makes a lot of sense. So this is May, June, July. We get the three amigos, Putin, um, Musk, and the felon. It's discovered that their deceit, their deception is discovered. Who's it discovered by? Discovered by the voters, the Four of Wands. So something gets revealed to the public. And it circles of support and celebration. That's really interesting. So some bombshell gets revealed about Elon Musk, and it results in people celebrating. It's like Schadenfreude, right? People taking pleasure in someone else's demise. And I'm just going to say this so nobody puts it in the comments. This is not this is not about the election. That is not the deceit and the deception that is coming out. It is far darker than that. It's not about the election. Okay, we get loss. Yeah. The minor arcana death card, the Five of Cups. We get loss in September. This is feeling like the spot because then we have an end of the cycle there. Yeah, and walking away, the Eight of Cups. What's he walking away from? I think it's literally, his inner being walking away from the planet. What do we get underneath? Yeah, it's inevitable. The Three of Swords. It's kind of like, if you take the death depiction of the tarot card and you personify it into the character of death, like we see in movies or like in an Edgar Allan Poe story, um, it's like this is death, like the figure death, right? The Grim Reaper just waiting. It's inevitable. Interesting that I pulled that card up because I don't normally do that. Seven of Swords, deceit and deception, getting away with something. That's also the Ten of Pentacles, which is the inheritance card. So I guess this card goes up. So it is inevitable that this is going to happen. There's nothing he can do to stop it, or anybody else for that matter. What do we need to know about the Felon's High? Three Pentacles popped out again. Musk, Putin, and the Felon, and their schemes being exposed to the public. Their schemes are so far wide-ranging, but it involves a lot of fraud and deceit. It involves money in some ways, but I think it also involves human rights violations as well. I think it's going to be shocking. So this is May, June, July, right? I think if on my other channel I did the eclipse reading, and I think I came to something like in June and July. That was the time period where something would change the way we think about the safety of our children. So that seems to fit that time frame as well. Something along those lines, like it's about our personal safety or others, but most of us can empathize and put ourselves in other people's shoes fairly well, versus people like the Felon cannot, or Musk, they just cannot do that. Do we need to know? What's health? Like a ringing in my ears, as if he's going to experience this repeatedly, but not like consistently, where he'll oftentimes start to hear a ringing in his ears, and he'll find it really annoying, but again, he's not going to know how to express that. So it's, it's rather unpleasant. So what's that about? I think when he starts to have these emotional outbursts and he gets really, really angry, it's followed by a period of time where he hears ringing in his ears. I think it's followed after these emotional outbursts. Maybe it's because I don't know what could cause ringing in the ears. Again, I'm not a medical doctor, but it's almost like that's an after effect of being really angry. Okay, we get guardrails. This is what's making him mad. The courts are putting up the guardrails, keeping him from doing whatever he wants, the Nine of Wands. So that would be an important card for the next while. We get the Eight of Pentacles. Expect them to try to get around the courts by using different laws, not necessarily defying court orders, but he's going to keep asking over and over again, is there any other way we can do this? Because he's so obsessed with getting people out of the country that he, for whatever reason, has deemed needs to be out of the country. I don't think he actually personally cares. I think it's just a reputation thing. So he's going to be constantly asking about new plans, and he's going to be told there aren't any, and that's going to keep up these fits of rage. the three amigos again in the same month, Putin, Musk, and Trump, really want us to know something about them gets exposed in July. I was gonna say exposed. I think the Musk Putin relationship will really get exposed for entertainment purposes only. Like in particular, the way Musk manipulated Ukraine's ability to communicate during some Russian attacks, and how this was all orchestrated, how they orchestrated the disinformation campaign to help Trump in the election. We get the voters, again, the Four of Wands, families, children. I think that might be part of it too. There might be something coming out about keeping children safe. You get the Nine of Pentacles after the Lost card. So this is having everything you need. A wealth and abundance of doctors around him is what I'm getting. But I don't, it's inevitable, right? There's nothing that can be done. And with the Chariot card again, it's like there's one more fit, perhaps, or he'll always be remembered for trafficking, kidnapping, taking people illegally and putting them somewhere else. That's how he'll always be remembered, I think, is maybe what that's about. Underneath, we get the Minor Arcana Death card again, the Five of Cups. So death is definitely in the environment around. It's just, it's like if if you're waiting for surgery to repair an aneurysm, right? It's like that. It feels like it could blow at any time. We get the Full card popping out. These new beginnings. It's also the start of the tarot, right? The World card's the end, so like a fresh start after the World card. I mean, it's the end of the major arcana and the beginning of the major arcana. What do we need to know? Water went real still, and it feels cold in the scrying bowl, which is usually a sign of loss. Or an event that just takes people back to where there's no movement, right? Something happens to where people are taken back, probably for just a brief second, right? Not for like very long. We get Justice. He's going to be really angry about these court decisions, and there are more coming. I don't know that the federal employees get their jobs back. I don't think so, but there's going to be other rulings, though, striking down other things that he's done. We'll hear about the birthright citizenship. The Supreme Court's going to hear that argument on an expedited basis. They are not going to side with him on that one. That will be struck down. Here we get the Four of Pentacles, his stability being in question and death being behind him. That's the kind of the image of the Grim Reaper, right? For the frugal miser. Yeah. His stability will start to be questioned. We get the Queen of Pentacles. It might try to distract us against the story, whatever the story is about deceit, deception. In July, the Queen of Pentacles makes me think they're going to try to to distract us by, here's this new shiny object, look at it, right? She's holding up the pentacle. I think that's going to happen in July. And I think it's about his health. I think this starts to come out because people start to realize that maybe he hasn't been acting on full capacity for a while. And so people really do ask how much influence Musk and Putin have had. With the Four of Cups again, dumping out the medicine, he's done. He's ready to be done. I guess is the only way to put it. Yeah, we get the Five of Wands. The fighting's over. This is the after tarot. The fighting's over. Things have changed. The whole country has changed because I think he's gone away. And we get the Knight of Swords eventually happening in October, where a new battle starts, a new battle with different people, different players. Underneath, we have the Five of Swords. This is the card for dementia. It's also wounded in battle, also kind of a death representation as well. Good partnerships. I dropped that Two of Cups. Okay, let's turn one last deck on it, the top deck, and then we'll go through each month. What do you need to know about the Felon's health? It's very precarious. I don't know exactly when he goes, but we're not talking years. I think we're more talking in months, but not years. But I have a strong pull towards September, or maybe even back here. And all this. One shuffle. So I'm getting that image of them taking his blood pressure again. I don't know if they're doing this all the time. Don't believe the physical, the numbers on the physical. Don't believe any of that. Kind of like a wave of serenity. I don't know the right word. Maybe it's more than calm, just like that description of the girl in the communion dress running through the park, carefree, breathing, not a care in the world. Or not communion dress, confirmation dress, or maybe they're the same thing. I don't know. I wasn't raised in the Christian faith, so I might get that wrong. So I apologize. But it's like this running through the park in a white dress. It's like innocence and being able to breathe, and like the air is fresh and untainted, and yeah, it's a real serene feeling. Okay, we get the Knight of Pentacles. Something comes out about money or efforts or his health. It's the Knight of Cups, emotional messages, lots of messages. We get truce, the Four of Swords, truce. It's also the ill health card in the normal tarot, the Four of Swords. Oppression, the Ten of Swords or Ten of Wands, oppression, like completely burdened oppression. Sorrow, the Three of Swords. Something's wrong with his heart. Maybe his heart fails at this time. It sure feels like this is the month. sorrow. So the normal depiction is the heart with the swords in them. And then we get the Princess of Wands, like a regained passion. It's like everything changes after he goes. We probably should do a reading on that at some point. What's going to happen? Underneath, we get the devil, mis and disinformation, deceit, toxicity. All that's affecting his health, his karma, right? His ability to exist in a healthy way. He's never had that ability, but it's what's going on. So in May and April, he knows the sun is about to set. People kind of know it too. People are celebrating. What are they? He's juggling so much, very stressed out, overseas issues, money coming in from overseas, perhaps. All these tariffs are really taking a toll. He probably backed off of them. Like, we might hear more backing off of tariffs, and that's why the people are celebrating. The judiciary puts up more guardrails, keeping justice intact. And we're going to hear about these, outbursts or health, or we're going to hear more outbursts just in general, perhaps in May. And then in June, he knows that it's like the Six of Swords is like they're going to try something new, but or he's asking, is there any other way we can do this? But it's just self-sabotage. It's like a spy in the camp. Like people might tell him yes, but then the courts will strike it down again. And this obsession with trafficking people out of the country, kidnapping them, is going to continue. They're going to try to find other plans. He's going to keep asking, is there any other way we can do this, even though the courts have already said no? He's going to be told there's not, which is going to lead to more outbursts. His stability is going to start to be questioned. Death starts to approach. And we get emotional messages with the Knight of Cups. And then in July, we get the three amigos, Putin, the felon, and Musk. Something about what they're doing, some sort of deception, deceit, trickery gets exposed. I think this has a lot to do with like the savings that Doge supposedly saved. They're realizing that nothing really happened, that they just fired a bunch of people. Yeah, let me take a sip of my tea. So it's like people start to realize that they're increasing the deficit, right? Things like that. And also just how much they were involved in manipulating the election. From a misinformation standpoint, I want to be very clear. I only mean from a misinformation standpoint. And they're going to be the center of attention. It's going to be brought up several times. They're going to try to distract us with some sort of shiny object, some sort of news story, trying to seek to calm the news. So we get the truce card. And then in August, we get Musk playing a big role. Something surprising, some big bombshell being exposed about Musk, which also angers the felon. Like it might be exposed how much he was backstabbing the felon, for example, or how much he was working against the felon in some sense. Something like that's going to come, which causes some health problems. The people, though, are going to find like some schadenfreude, like, joy in Musk's and the felon's misery almost. It's like, it's not like people are going to go into the streets and celebrate at this point in time. I don't think it's that. But people are going to quietly laugh at lunch about it. And it's like, look at these fools kind of a thing. That's the people there. And then it's kind of at this point that the felon's done. Like he's ready to pour out his cup and go. Like the party's over. He's ready to go. And then we get oppression. The burdens just become too much. And so that's in August. And then in September, it's like the image I got when I saw this card was like somebody taking their first communion, and I got that information of, or the image of the girl in like the confirmation dress. It's like things start anew. Like everything has changed by this point. Like the vantage point of the felon has changed. People are really thinking about the next generation. They're thinking about the life cycle. It's like the life cycle is winding down and it comes to an end. It's what I'm getting. We get loss. Um, is this actually the month that he passes? I'm not entirely sure, but it feels that way. It feels like he has a lot of good doctors with the Nine of Pentacles, but it also feels like they're putting down their wands and they're no longer fighting. It almost feels like somebody deciding to go into hospice care. Like that relief that a person that's made that decision gets when they've decided that they're not going to seek out treatments that are making them feel terrible and yada yada yada. It's like that moment is what that feels like. And then we get sorrow. And feels like something with his heart, the Three of Swords. So I think this is the month that things change dramatically. So new seeds are being planted because the cycle has ended. I don't think he's president. He's walked away. He's left, so to speak. But he'll always be remembered for what he did to innocent people. He'll always be remembered for that. It will be a stain similar to the Trail of Tears and Andrew Jackson. It really will. It'll be a huge stain. But the fighting starts anew, and we get passion and leadership with the Princess of Wands. So it feels like August, September, possibly into October, but more August into September is when things really change, which is what I had kind of gotten before. So we'll see. You know, it's a tarot reading. I could be right, I could be wrong, but I'm right more than I'm wrong. Anyhow, all right. Thank you for watching, and thank everybody for the happy Easter wishes. And I wish you a happy Easter back. And I'll be back with another video soon.